Recently, social media has been awash with the news that Donald Trump has been banned from Facebook and Twitter, with many people celebrating the news. But vegans, of all people, should not be celebrating big tech censorship. After all, just because they censored the opinions of the mean orange man you don't like, do you think that means they won't stop at you if they have the incentive? The fact that big tech just cancelled the sitting president of the United States should worry any rational person who values liberty and freedom. Let's put this into perspective. Facebook and Instagram is run by a billionaire hunter who says,
"Things taste better when you make them yourself, and they taste doubly better when you hunted the animal yourself."
And vegans are celebrating the power this guy wields over who can and can't say what on his platform. I mean, what vegan who spreads the truth in a radical and unapologetic way has not had a ban on any of these platforms for violating these companies' community standards, or should I say community double standards? Hell, I've been banned for sticking it to a guy who said vegans at a Save protest should have been run over. I've been banned for posting a meme that calls out the hypocrisy of people who say that we should respect the decision of those who choose to harm animals. All I can say is, if you're a vegan who loves to speak the truth on social media and you haven't yet had an account ban, you have been incredibly lucky. But back to the Trump situation. For anyone who uses the analogy of how Facebook, Twitter and so on are private companies, and thus conservatives are being hypocrites for being against this because they claim to support the right of private companies to control what should and shouldn't be allowed in their business, I would agree here. If, that is, big tech didn't essentially have a monopoly on the spread of information. You see, if there were all these mainstream social media apps popping up all over the place where one can freely roam and post uncensored opinions to a global audience, I would absolutely respect the point of view that it's fine for private companies like Twitter and Facebook to ban certain people. But this is not the case. In fact, Apple and Google, both of whom themselves have a monopoly on app stores for mobile operating systems, have now removed social media app Parler from the App Store and the Google Play Store, respectively, due to the fact that Parler is a social media app, mainly frequented by right-wingers, that does not censor the opinions of its users. If that doesn't worry you, regardless of your views on anything, then I don't know what will. In fact, I'd have to say, if it doesn't worry you that Google, Apple, Facebook and Twitter essentially control the spread of information, with even the Google search engine removing certain things from its search results that go against its company's own political views, all I can assume is that you're a robot who shares the exact same opinions as all of these big tech CEOs, in which case you wouldn't be vegan, because none of them are. I also find it interesting that people who have spent the last 4 years talking about punching fascists, that is, anyone who isn't a communist, condoning looting and writing burn landlords, die cis white men and assassinate Trump, and now saying that Trump's ban is justified because inciting violence though. You couldn't make this shit up. But let me just recap. This is the current situation we're in. Pretty much everyone you know has a smartphone that is operated by either Google or Apple. The video sharing site that you're watching this on is owned by the former, as is the world's most used search engine. Both the video site you're viewing this on and the search engine you probably use remove content that is perfectly acceptable and legal to say, but it doesn't like. Apps for social media sites that censor free speech are on both of these operating systems' app stores. Apps for social media sites that do not censor free speech are being removed from these operating systems' app stores. And so we're basically left with this as the main source of information worldwide. Yes, these 6 platforms, whose owners all share pretty much the same opinions, political views, and indeed views on animal rights, are where the majority of the digital world gets its information from. And if you get banned from these, well, tough shit. You'll just have to go to some dark corner of the web somewhere and preach to a choir of a few thousand. Moreover, this isn't just about being against big tech censorship because it serves us in some way as vegans to not have it. This goes way beyond veganism. This is about being a decent human being, a person who values freedom of speech and freedom of information. And if you're one of the people who only wants your views, your opinions, and your politics being allowed on social media, you're not a decent human being. You're an authoritarian brat who thinks every single person should be thought policed into thinking the way you think on every issue. So vegans, and indeed anyone, please stop applauding big tech censorship. We're in dangerous times where the spread of information is being controlled by just a handful of powerful people. We must be vocal in our opposition to censorship of opinions, whether you like the person being censored or not. Animal rights advocacy is about telling people what they do not want to hear. And as George Orwell, writer of the dystopian novel 1984, which seems eerily all too familiar at the moment, said, "If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear." Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you value my opinions and my advocacy and want to help me have more time to make content, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Your donations so far have allowed me to up my game more than ever before in my digital advocacy, and I really appreciate it.